All right. So, and talking with a few people about how to best utilize your loadout slots for like, especially like swapping, hot swapping during encounters. It's it is one that there's a few tips I want to share, and you don't have to save all your loadouts. There's a lot of builds and loadouts right now, especially after prismatic and exotic class items. I get that, totally understand. But we're not going to go through all of that. But I'm gonna kind of run through some things that will probably help you optimize maybe build swapping, especially stuff into getting the most out of your characters during ad clear or damage, right? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to kind of set up what your main loadout is going to be for your encounter, whatever encounter you're going to do. Now, there's going to be an encounter that I'm going to show off here towards the end of the video so you can kind of get an idea what it's like full swing. And it's going to be second encounter of Salvation's Edge. So that's the build I'm going to kind of show off here. But really what you want to do is figure out what your primary kind of loadout's going to be, okay? And you want to save that here to one, especially if you're on console. Console is going to be mostly one, and a big reason why is when you first are trying to build swap, right? And you're just running around doing your thing. You hit the pause button, you bring it up, you hit the left on the D-pad, or if you're even on PC and you're playing on controller, which apparently there's a lot of people on Steam now playing on controller. It's like 60% of gamers. I saw that stat like yesterday or the day before. So even if you're on controller or on PC, take notice of when you hit left on the D-pad and you bring up your loadouts here, okay? Where is your cursor? Right now my cursor is it comes up barely over 1. So that is going to be my main loadout, okay? And I always save 1 and 3 for just swapping. Just my build swapping is 1 and 3. If you are on mouse and keyboard, what I would highly recommend doing, I'm not totally sure on this, but whatever button you press, on the left side of your screen to open loadouts, whatever button that is, notice if your cursor actually moves over there. If it does not, what I would actually do is use like 8:10 or 10:12, something like that. That way, one, it's closer as you move your cursor over. It's closer. And to me, I would rather it be 10:12 because at the beginning of every new season, these are the ones you got to unlock anyways through Guardian rank and stuff like that. If you're not a Guardian rank leveling person, then yeah, maybe not, maybe like 8:10 or something like that. But anyways, just take notice of that on PC. I'm not quite sure on PC, but if it doesn't auto jump over to basically on top of slot 1, then yeah, use something over here like 6:8, 8:10, something like that. And you could definitely use 3. Like if I was going to use 3 different loadouts in like one encounter, I'm swapping between 3 different loadouts. 1, 3, and 2 would probably be my 3 slots I would use. So anyways, that's kind of a little tip I would give you. Pay attention to where your cursor kind of jumps to whenever you open your loadout. So for me, 1 and then 3. Okay, so those are the 2 I mostly use. Every now and then I'll use 2. And really, I don't do it that often. It's got to be a much longer encounter. But one of the reasons why that's beneficial is you can use a build like my top one. I'm using Shinobu's Vow, right? Being able to use Shinobu's Vow, and you can kind of see what the build and loadout is. I got Ashes to Assets. Let me bring it up over here. Firepower, Ashes to Assets. So I'm able to get my super back up before we go into damage phase, and that's I wouldn't be able to do that with my damage-based loadout because my damage-based loadout is more geared towards doing damage during damage phase. So as you go into damage phase, after you've gotten your super, you just come in, hit pause, bring up your loadouts, and then boom, there you go. And it's all about being as quick as possible, right? You're probably not caring about your drip too much, but you just want to make sure that whatever build and loadout you have for your damage, you also have that set up. And you want to make it as similar as possible. And you kind of notice that both of these that I'm using for this example, they are very similar. I'm swapping off armor pieces and mods is basically it. I'm not swapping weapons. You could definitely swap weapons, but if you do that, be aware of losing ammo, right? And so if you do swap weapons, make sure they are the same archetype. So like shotguns, slots go to shotguns, you know, you swap off to shotguns, glaives to glaives, snipers to snipers, machine guns to machine guns, that kind of stuff. So just be very aware of that. The other thing you can kind of be doing if you're going to rock like an ad clear setup or a super generating setup is, you know, you might also be needing heavy ammo. So, you know, having ammo finders on your helmet might be more beneficial. It just kind of depends. So, especially if you have a team that needs ammo, you can also rock the scout mods and stuff like that. I know a lot of people right now are currently still hunt with Celestial, you know, kind of doing damage with that. So in that case, special ammo finders and scouts at that point in time. But the one thing, or there's a couple things that you don't want to change. This is very important. You don't want to have anything change in your subclass. Your arc, void, prismatic, whatever it is. You want your swapping to be on the same subclass. You notice that, you know, just above my weapons there, it's the arc subclass. It does not change. I don't change anything in there. If you change anything in there between your swapping, those abilities will have a cooldown. If you're okay with that on a grenade or a melee or you know, maybe your dodge ability, okay, then fine. But if you change your super, obviously you'll have that will reset on cooldown. So then you'll lose your entire super, and or if you just change your subclass, like if you go from arc to a void. So do not do that. You're only basically changing. I would try to leave mostly your weapons the same as well, but you're mostly changing out armor pieces and mods. Really, that's all you really want to change. But this is just meant to, you know, understand how to swap loadouts a little bit faster. Now, many of us in the Destiny community actually use a tool called Destiny Item Manager website, or there is an app on your phone you can use. But one of the cool things about it is you can save loadouts. It's a free tool. All you got to do is log into your Destiny account and stuff like that, and you can see all your different equipment, gear, weapons, and stuff like that. And you can save loadouts. It's probably like one of the best features about this. Excuse me. So being able to save loadouts and being able to pull them back later is just like in game. It's a little bit slower because, right, it's not totally in sync in game. There's a lot of loading that has to go back and forth between the servers. But the cool thing about this is you can save a lot more than 10 loadouts. I got a lot more than 10 different builds here. There's even some builds I need to go back through and redo, maybe even get rid of. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the cool thing. One of the things that I do, and I would highly recommend, is if you do use this kind of website and tool, is I do save a lot of my builds as a base build in Destiny Item Manager. You know, I don't, most of the times from season to season, you don't use roughly the same build just because the artifact kind of determines really the builds you're going to be using that season. So I don't necessarily save all, you know, just the build, every build in season on Destiny, you know, in the loadouts. So I save a lot of them, you know, in here in Destiny Item Manager. That way, if I want to pull it in a future season, you know, I can do that. So this is a great tool, great way to kind of just save builds and save loadouts, and then, you know, call back to them later on. Maybe even like in 2 seasons, like, oh, you know what? I got that build. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to dust it off. And, you know, you might pull a base build and then do some fine tweaking of what's kind of going on in the game with the artifact and stuff like that. Maybe you have a different scenario where, you know, you got, you know this Void Orpheus Rig super regen base build I got here. You know, I got heavy ammo, finders, and scouts on it. Maybe I don't need heavy, right? Maybe I don't need heavy. Most likely I do, but if I don't, then I can obviously swap those off, and I can save that build in game if I'm using it in game more. So there's always that. But I do like this because I can save more than 10 loadouts, and I don't lose slots at the end of the season like you do in loadouts in game. So being able to have the base kind of loadouts saved in Destiny Item Manager, or DIM. I was trying to say the name of the website and the acronym all together. Did not work. But being able to kind of save all these different builds in here and then use them later on is really nice. If I do save a seasonal build in DIM, which, you know, sometimes I do because a lot of times there's a lot of great builds in a season, I will call it like a seasonal build, like season, let's see, where's one? I gotta have one in here, right? Season 20, like I'll mark it like that, like season 20 or something like that. That way I know it was specific for season 20. If I come back and look at it later on in the future or something like that, I can just trash it. You know, it was relevant for that season. So yeah, I mean, that's about the main thing, is just kind of make sure you kind of label things correctly. But I save a lot of base stuff in here, and then if I need it, I'll load it into, you know, you can hit this apply button on your builds and loadouts, and it will load it in game. Now I'm not going to do that because I really have no idea about some of these builds, so I don't really want to do that. But that it'll change your loadout build in game, and then at that point in time, you can save it in game, and then even probably start fine tuning and even tweaking it and stuff like that. But that's kind of the way I kind of manage a lot of my loadouts. I save just about every loadout I kind of use. I save a base version of it in DIM. That way I can call it back, especially if I do like it, you know, in the future season or something like that, future content, I can use it later on. And I save a lot of my relevant stuff in Destiny, that way in the loadouts area. And then as far as like how I use my loadouts area, I definitely do use my loadouts areas, you know, 1 and 3. These are just for like hot swapping only. So like I'll override these quite often, especially depending upon, you know, which encounter I'm kind of doing and stuff like that. But hopefully this gives you some tips and tricks, kind of some things to think about. So if you are doing the hot swapping on encounters, make sure you know, the hot swapping, they are not changing supers, your subclass, anything like that. You don't want to have it changing your grenade, your melee class ability. So I'll let that in second encounter in Salvation's Edge kind of run, and you can kind of see an idea of how it kind of all works. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully this gives you some pretty good tips, tricks, and take care.
Ready?
Yeah.
This is the run.
Yeah, third time's a charm. I wish it was right now. Everybody, you can't still take. I'll still open it. Y'all got enough time to figure out that. They don't fuck with all y'all do it. Going up.
I did.
Okay, sending.
Send them back.
Back up.
Yeah.
Y'all let me know y'all ready to
I
go.
sent that one back. Usually you get called.
Send them back.
Yeah. Turn it down.
Yeah, let's get in there.
Oh, I think it's fucking with the medium. Holy shit.
Oh.
That's not bad. I'm gonna fuck my shit off.
Alright, we're done.
Grab spears.
Grab circles, bro.
Alright.
Galaxy, you're getting triangles.
Where's this knight? Oh, he's right here. Alright, I'm sending it right now.
You can send mid. You can send mid.
Yep. Sending.
Alright, let's close.
Holy shit. Alright, let's see if I can get all my axes this time.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You can't jump too high either.
Yeah.
Or you do no damage. How the fuck?
Damage is over. Alright, guys, we got it.
We got this. We have no run.
But like, for real, dog, these are ads. They're not even like, these are like just normal red bar ads. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Sunday.
Hey, don't think about it.
Send him back mid.
Right, sent it.
Coming up.
Sending.
Sun.
Got it. Sent it to you.
Send it back mid.
Coming up. I hope you kill Bob.
Mid.
Sun.
Kill lights. Oh, oh shit.
Grab
Pick up circle. Pyramid.
Circle.
Pyramid.
I grab circles. I grab Galaxy. I grab circles.
Shit.
So you grab.
Well, you're closing then.
Yeah, that's fine.
send it whenever.
I did this a little quicker.
I just sent.
Come
when you're ready.
Send mid. Fuck it. There's shit all over the place. Mid's close.
Nice.
Make sure we're getting them banked.
Close to well.
Damn it. Alright, go. Get out of there.
One more, boys.
And we have max amount of time.
Good. Oh wow. Oh, shit on.
Okay, sending.
Are you going
I'm going to send it.
Mid's going back.
I sent it.
Coming up.
Got it. Sent it back.
Mid's coming back.
Yep. Sending.
Coming up.
Got it. Sent it back. Alright, I'm going to mid now.
The right side lane.
Alright, we're done.
Yeah, you're grabbing a sphere. You're grabbing a sphere.
Galaxy, you're getting sphere.
Okay. Oh shit. I'm dead.
You didn't get any, right?
Yeah. Get me.
Alright.
Spear.
Yeah.
I can send it whenever.
Send it up.
Alright, I sent it.
Like,
Alright, Galaxy, whenever you get up there, just send it, man.
Alright, ours close.
I'm sending it. Sending it.
Alright, that's okay.
Alright, close.
Close. Okay, back up.
See damageable?